Hey, these days I've been thinking about the quadras a lot, and I've decided to make a like trilogy about NF sleep, and I'm going to be trying to find NF sleep of three people. First one is Michael Jackson, then I'm gonna do two other people. So stay tuned for that. But for this episode, I'm going to be focusing on Michael Jackson and trying to figure out what his NF sleep is about. And I think I already have the answer, but I will consume style take you along for the ride. So let's start.
I want to know how big of a price it was, losing your childhood or having this kind of life.
Well, you don't get to do things that other children get to do. You know, the simple things that they so much take for granted. Having friends and slumber parties and buddies and just hanging out. There was none of that for me. I didn't have any friends when I was little. My brothers were my friends.
Was there ever a...
No, and that is why I think now, because I didn't have it then, I compensate for that.
Really?
I mean, when people wonder why I always have children around, because I find the thing that I never had through them. You know, Disneyland, amusement parks, arcade games.
All right, so he didn't have a childhood in a sense that other people did. So other people, like regular people, could go on parks and play with friends and get dirty and just scream, whereas he had to go and work all these time. So now he is like, I don't know how many years old in this interview, but let's say he is 30. He's like, well, I didn't get to have the childhood, so I'm gonna have that now. So I will create an amusement park in my house so I can be a child in my house. Okay, I think that's hinting at something. Let's watch more.
I adore all that stuff because when I was little, it was always work, 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 from one concert to the next. If it wasn't concert, it was the recording studio. If it wasn't that, it was TV shows or interviews or picture sessions. It was always something to do.
Did you...
Very, very difficult.
Really?
Yes.
Yes. How so?
Because I think every child star suffers through this period because you're not the cute and charming child that you were, and you start to grow. And they want to keep you young forever and little forever.
Who's they?
The public. I used to not look at myself. I'd wash my face in the dark. I wouldn't want to look in the mirror.
Really?
And my father teased me, and I just hated it. I cried every day because of it.
Your father would tease you about your
Yes, he would
pimples?
tell me I'm ugly.
These teen years, what is that when you started to go inside yourself? Because obviously you haven't spoken to to the world for 14 years. I think is your last televised interview. So you went inside. You became a recluse, and that was on purpose. Was it to protect yourself?
All right, so everybody, even if you have sleep loss, everybody goes inside and tries to resolve stuff. And when you have FI in your stack, when you're going inside, it is to resolve sad feelings. I mean, like, or if you have TI, I am assuming you would go inside to resolve contradictions. The truths that you are building on top of each other are contradicting, and with the emotions, with the FI, you are stacking the emotions in one way, and they are stacking towards sadness and bitterness. So you are going back and trying to unlock those emotional blocks. So let's see what he says about that.
I felt that there wasn't anything important for me to say. Those were very sad, sad years for me. And
Why so sad? Because on stage we see you performing, you're getting your Grammys. Why so sad?
oh, there's a lot of sadness about my past life and, adolescence and my father and all of those things. It just made me very, very, very sad.
So he would tease you, make fun of you?
Yes,
Did he ever beat you?
yes,
He did.
yes,
And that was difficult to take, getting
Yes.
beaten and going on stage and performing.
yes.
And why would he beat you?
Because he saw me, he wanted me to, I guess maybe, I don't know if I was his golden child or whatever it was. Some may call it a strict discipline.
Okay, so whoever that would be, like decider, observer, whatever function doesn't matter, that your own father is beating you and then you are going on stage and performing and you are all putting on that act of like, oh, I am like happy, this happy kid, that would be traumatizing to anyone. So like no wonder he went inside in his own introspective world to resolve that. And I think in the rest of the interview with Oprah, Oprah is calling Michael out on how can you forgive him, because forgiveness and love is also part of Michael Jackson's NF world. Like one of one of the principles that he holds dearly to his heart is forgiveness and love. And Oprah asks, how can you forgive someone if you didn't fully get the anger out? So I think that is like Effie seeing the FI trying to do shortcuts on emotions, but you can't really do that. So let's watch.
Disciplinarian or whatever, but he was very strict, very hard, very stern. And just a look would scare you, and
Were you scared of him?
very frightened. There's been times when he'd come to see me and I would get sick. But I do love him.
Yes, I
And
understand.
I am forgiving.
Yes.
I don't go
But
around
can
with
you really
chip.
forgive? I say this on my show all the time. Can you really forgive if you haven't gotten angry? If you haven't dealt with how you really feel? I don't know if you can go from having been abused to forgiveness.
I do forgive. There's so much garbage and so much trash that's written about me that is so untrue. They're complete lies.
Okay, he, okay, this is, I mean, probably everybody who is watching this video already knows, but Oprah is FENI and Michael Jackson is FINI. So this FENI, smartest lady, is telling you are trying to do shortcut on this emotional thing of with the FINI. Like, okay, your end destination goal might be to forgive and love, but you actually have to get angry first and yell and break some things and get that fully anger, resentment, revenge out of your system to be able to achieve that forgiveness. Whereas with FI and I think what he's trying to do is tabloids that wrote these things to me and I'm forgiving them, and my dad whipped me and my brother he whipped my brothers as well, and he abused us verbally and physically, but I'm just gonna forgive him. No, you can't just directly go to that emotion. Like extroverted functions have more wisdom in that area, whereas I feel like with like how I feel is that um the extroverted functions are those big spotlights in like football field, whereas with introvert functions you just have one lighter, like your phone's lighting and you're going in the woods. Like that's how different it is. And with Oprah, she keeps calling him out on you can't directly just jump to forgiveness. You have to go through these other five, six emotions from anger, then you can go to forgiveness.
The color of your skin is obviously different than it was when you were younger.
Yes.
And so I think it has caused a great deal of speculation and controversy as to what you have done or are doing. Are you bleaching your skin? And is your skin lighter because you don't like being black?
Okay, number one, as I know of, there's no such thing as skin bleaching.
This is the most delusional thing I have ever heard in my life. Like NF is very like NF can be one of the most delusional out of all four quadrants in my opinion. And if you know about Enneagram, he is 974, which is triple fantasy. So combine that with NF, you get Michael Jackson and you get me, like the most delusional people in the world. And he says, I don't even know if there is skin bleaching. Like skin bleaching existed like I don't know for thousands of years. And he's like, I have never seen it. Like, of course you have. Of course you have seen it. Of course you've seen people use it. Like, maybe not physically see it, but like know that it is happening. Oh God, let's keep watching.
I have never seen it. I don't know what
Well,
it
they used
is.
to have those products growing up. I used to hear always use bleach and glow, but you'd have to have about 300,000
Right.
gallons.
Okay, number one, this is the situation. I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I cannot help. Okay, but when people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
So it is.
It's a problem for me. Okay, I can't control it. Okay, but what about all the millions of people? Let's reverse it.
Okay.
What about
Okay, stop. Before reversing it, let's first mention that he is saying I have this skin disorder, vitiligo, I believe it's called, and it is making my skin go like in patches, like lighter and lighter. And after a while, I think he just started using the lighter foundation and creamy products to even out the skin. Like this is so like this is how you can see the lack of ST in someone's life. Just get with the paper. Like I don't know, you go to doctor and like here is the skin condition and here are the photos of my skin patches of like some parts of it are darker and some parts of it are lighter and just show to public and just shut them off. Like just cut them off. But he's just saying in the NF, but there's no ST proving it.
I don't want to go into my medical history because that's something that's private, but that's
Okay, you don't want to go into your medical history, but you're one of the most famous people in the world, and this is one of the biggest accusations. Like, you are changing your race. Like, not changing your race, but you're changing the way you look so dramatically that you're changing your race, basically. So I think you can get like 1% responsible to prove that you actually have a sickness and you're not actually trying to become another race.
the situation here. So please, when people see
So,
something
okay,
like
I just
that,
want to get this straight.
Yeah.
You are not taking anything to change the color of your
oh
skin.
God, no.
You did not
We're
purposely.
trying to control it, and using makeup evens it out because it makes blotches on.
How much plastic surgery have you had?
Very, very little. Very, you can count them on two
This, again, is a lie.
fingers. I mean, let's say this: if you want to know about those things, all the nosy people in the world,
But
read
once
my
we
book.
say it, we don't have to say it anymore.
Read my book, Moonwalker. It's in my book. You know, let's just put it this way: if all the people in Hollywood who have had plastic surgery, if they went on vacation,
This is deflection. Like, we are not talking about all the people in Hollywood who got plastic surgery. We are talking about directly you. Why are you trying to change the topic?
there wouldn't be a person left in town.
As it's only two things, but I think, like, if I read it correctly, it's like close to 100. So, yeah, again, lying about the sensory very casually.
Why do you always grab your crotch?
Why do I grab my crotch?
Yeah, why? We think
You
you
know,
got a thing with your crotch going
I
on.
think
here.
it happens subliminally. When I dance, if you're a dancer, you know you're just interpreting the sounds and the accompaniment of the music. If there's a driving bass, you become the bass. If there's a cello, if there's a string, you become that. So you become the emotion of what that sound is. Okay? So if I'm doing a movement and I go bam and I grab myself, it's the music that compels me to do it. It's not saying I'm getting ready to grab down there and it's not a great place. You don't think about it, it just happens.
All those records, when you have the #1 album ever sold, the #2 album ever sold, when you've broken every record there is to break, when you have become an icon in the industry, is there always the pressure to do something bigger and something better?
Oh, gee, that is something. It makes it harder each time to follow up. So you try to be as original as you can be without thinking about statistics. Just go from the soul.
Okay, you want to do original things. You want to stay authentic to yourself. And how do you stay authentic to yourself? Is by not caring about ST. I don't care if it is going to sell. I don't care if it looks good from outside. I don't care if other people are going to agree with this. You just do that NF authentic heart soul thing, and that's how you create art. And that is like NF sleep way of creating art.
Soul and from the heart.
And so when you think of that, what do? You go, you meditate, you think, well, I will now do the Super Bowl. I will now.
No. I just create out of my heart, really.
I want to tell everyone.
Okay, this is so interesting because Oprah is also NF, and she's like, okay, are you meditating? Is there something external that you can share with us? And NF is the most elusive sleep because it's not sensor, and sensor is more verbal, and it's not thinking, and thinking is also more verbal. NF is just the feeling, the vibe, the movement, And he's just saying, I'm creating out of my heart. And what does that even mean, you know? Creating out of your heart. And that's why I think explaining the NF sleep is, for me personally at least, one of the hardest, because you don't even know how to explain to yourself, let alone to other people. So when he says, I'm just creating out of my heart, I'm just pulling from my NF inner world, that is true, but you can't really communicate that very easily. Go back to his NF sleep again, and his NF sleep is unlived childhood fantasy dreamland. And let's watch this video. It's about child molestation, so trigger warning if this is something that is upsetting to you, click away.
Many children, thousands of children, cancer kids, leukemia kids. This is one of many.
Michael Jackson says his accuser is among thousands of children he's invited to his 2,600-acre Neverland Ranch in California to play in his amusement park, visit his zoo, watch movies, play video games, and feast on their favorite foods.
Can you imagine you're a full-grown man and you have this amusement park in your garden, like in your house, and you're inviting kids to play with them, to go on a roller coaster with them, to do other amusement park stuff with them, because you still haven't satisfied your NF sleep. That is crazy to me. I think why he's getting away with this much crazy NF is because he's super rich and he can actually afford to have an amusement park in his garden. I think one of the other ones was like, I don't remember his name, but he was also an INTJ with Sleep Last, and he had this like candy machine in his house because when he was, I think, a kid, he just couldn't buy candies, and now he wants to buy as much as he can whenever he wants to. Yeah, it's very childish indeed.
Tell me why you developed Neverland.
Because I wanted to have a place that I could create everything that I never had as a child. So you see rides, you see animals, there's a movie theater. I was always on tour, traveling, and I never got a chance to do those things. So I compensated for the loss by, I have a good time. I mean, I can't go into a park. I can't go to Disneyland as myself. I can't go out and walk down the street. There's crowds and bumper-to-bumper cars, and so I create my world behind my gates. Everything that I love is behind those gates. We have elephants and giraffes and crocodiles and every kind of tigers and lions, and we have busloads of kids who don't get to see those things. They come up, sick children, and enjoy it. Mm-hmm. They enjoy it in a pure, loving, fun way. It's people with a dirty mind that think like that. I don't think that way.
Okay, I don't want to go into like child molestation stuff that much, but the whole purpose of this video was to find Michael Jackson's FINI sleep, and I think his sleep is like the main theme of that NF sleep is unlived childhood. And now let's talk about the delusion of it. The delusion of that NF sleep is that the childhood is this magical thing. Like if you go around and ask people in the TESE realm, like if you actually physically grab people and ask, was your childhood magical? Did you always eat these like sugary things and always went to zoos and went to amusement parks and it was just so much fun that you were over feeling this joy? Like probably not. Like of course some parts of it, but then there are other parts of it who suck. But in his imagination, in his like that NF magical dreamland, Neverland, Peter Pan world, that is what it is, and he is trying to create that his whole life. So yeah, that's it for this video, and see you in the next one.